Hey guys and gals, and welcome to Dude. Check this out, a music podcast where we talk about music from the past and the present, and we talk about it with artists from the future. A quick footnote, we talk about a lot of music here, a lot of genres, a lot of tunes, a lot of ideas, but we can't touch on all the genres. There's too much happening in the music world. We'd like to talk about as much as we can. If you have any ideas of what we should talk about or who we should talk to, please email hambonerelay@gmail.com, and we'll try to respond as best as we can, and we'll try to work with different artists from the U.S. that are touring through Philadelphia, which is where we're based. And speaking of this podcast is run by Hambone Relay. My name is Rob Tate. I'm the drummer of Hambone Relay, and I'll be interviewing today. And on the computer is organist Mark Brown.
Hey.
He's a beautiful man, beautiful soul. He also runs business dealings for Hambone Relay. And another quick thing, if you want to check out any of Hambone Relay, which is a great organ trio, please check us out on YouTube or Spotify, any of the socials. You know. Okay, and today we're going to talk to the fantastic Rachel Andie. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Awesome. Like I said, we have a different co-host every show. So far, we've had John Gilbride and Trap Rabbit, who you've worked with, Logan Roth of Trap Rabbit. He's in your band.
Exactly, yeah.
Right on. Oh, I love the new album.
Thank you so much.
Tu me manques.
Tu me manques.
I've been practicing it. Because it's French, correct, for I Miss You?
Correct, yeah.
You're not French?
No, not at all.
So why?
So I, growing up, always romanticized the French language, and my father actually learned French in college. So it's something that he always knew, and I kind of always admired and that would be so cool to be able to speak French. And I speak Japanese, but I always really loved French. So I wanted to have something that represented this feeling as opposed to I miss you.
Very cliche.
Yeah,
in the
right.
English language.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
And tu me manques, what it really means in the French language is a piece of me is missing when you are away. It's kind of
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So I wanted that to be the concept of the album, and all the songs kind of relate back to that. So.
All the song topics kind of weave in between Tu me manques.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we'll dive back into the album, but my question is this. Is this album centered around a bunch of different people or events?
Yeah, so this, it's funny. I guess I can explain the whole thing. I never really aspired to be a musician. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I always wanted to be a dancer. I grew up as a dancer, and I met someone who really inspired me to want to change myself and what I did in my life, and brought real music into my life and inspired me to play guitar and really work towards that.
What did they show you?
Kind
give
of
us some music. Give us
kind
something.
of soul and spirit.
Okay.
In music, which was something that I was lacking. I had chorus in school, but I never had spirit and soul. And it was the first experience I had where I was I want to sing and write about what I'm feeling because it's real and raw, and I want to share it because I know other people probably feel it too. And
so who were the artists that this person was showing you when you were a kid?
So we weren't. So we both really love Death Cab.
Ooh.
Yeah, Death
Which
Cab
album?
for Cutie. I Will Follow You Into the Dark was the song that we played together.
Okay.
And honestly, not too many more. I know we listened to You Gotta Spend Some Time. Love.
I don't know that one.
I Will Possess Your Heart.
That's a title.
Some time with me. And I know that you'll find love.
Okay.
I will possess your heart. It's beautiful.
Nice.
It's really cool.
Okay, so you and this person play music together. That's who you learned guitar from, or you were just inspired to play guitar through knowing this person?
I started playing guitar a little bit before meeting this person, and then seeing them play guitar was oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I want to write, because it was really their original things that really made me inspired to write like my original music. And yeah, so like we played guitar together, and it made me think like I really want to write music. And so that's kind of what inspired everything. And, you know, the entire album, to be honest, is every song that I ever wrote from the experience that I had with this person, because it was so impactful in my life. And it was at a time in my life where I was so lonely and so, to be honest, depressed. And this was the only way that I could really speak like my truth and like speak what was going on in my life. And so the album is like a culmination of songs that I've written from when I was 15 to like 19, 20. Like 21 actually, like the beginning.
Okay.
And yeah, and then I met. Sorry, I'm like going off into a whole thing.
No, please.
But
I want to hear the story, honestly.
yeah, and then I met, you know, all these musicians, and kind of like waited for a while, like really wanted to find the right people who could, you know, play this music and like share the story. And I found Mark, our bassist, through another band I played in, Las Palabras, with my friend Christopher.
Oh, we know Chris.
Yeah. And me and
Shout
Mark
out to
started
Chris Finari.
playing. Yes, Chris Finari, Christophonic.
Christophonic on Instagram. Is it weird that now you have to know people's Instagram handles like offhand?
Well, Christophonic was actually his like original, like I think it was like a keys DJ kind of thing. Like he was like DJ Christophonic.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's gonna call me out so hard. Like, you didn't know that, bro? What are you doing, dude?
I could also be saying like, you know, I think that's what the project is, but he definitely was like Christophonic, because I've seen a little sticker on his hands.
We're gonna get emails just from Chris, just like, you guys suck. Okay, well, hold on. So I'm gonna take a step back real fast.
Yes. I kind of
no, it's good.
streamlined
It's
into
good.
it.
You're like popping up to the album. I have so many other questions because your life is interesting. You were a dancer as a kid.
Yeah.
You were a tap dancer.
I was a tap dancer.
Okay,
yeah.
my question is this: why?
Why? So I started dancing when I was 3 years old. I fell in
Sorry.
I fell in love with it. It was my life. It was how I expressed everything. Like, I'm really energetic.
No.
And it was like the way I could let that out. So my parents realized that I really loved it and kept me in it for a while. And I got to the point where I was like doing all the kinds of dance, like tap, jazz, modern ballet. And I just refined my dancing skills, and tap became my forte. It was like the greatest thing I had ever learned to do for me. It was so much fun because I'm always like hopping around when I was younger. And now I could like hop around and make music with my feet. It was so fun. Yeah.
My question is this: when you were doing tap, were you thinking about the music at all, or was it mostly like a physical, like energy thing?
It was definitely when I was younger. I was not thinking about the music. Like when you like learn choreography, it always has to be within the time of the music you're doing it
Correct,
to.
yeah.
But in the time that I was tap dancing all the time, I wasn't really a musician. Like I like to sing, but I didn't have like aspirations to be a musician yet.
You weren't thinking like LA and doing the whole thing.
As a dancer, I was like, I wanted to go to Juilliard and like do
Really?
the whole thing. Yeah, I was
And how old were you when you decided like you wanted to go to Juilliard?
12.
At 12 years old, you decided you wanted to go to Juilliard. That's amazing. Well, damn.
But I knew, you know, I knew that it was something that couldn't last for me, like, as time went on. Like, when I was, you know, around, like, 13, 14, 15, I started having mental illness issues, and that completely killed my dance vibe. I couldn't dance anymore, and it was tough. Like, I would, like, you know, be really upset, like, going to dance class. Like, I can't move. Like, I can't get up.
Let me ask, if you don't mind me interrupting.
Yeah,
Was it a combination of anxiety and depression?
I have this is not something that they knew when I was younger, because I was just having like severe anxiety attacks and would just like not get up for days. So they thought I had depression and an anxiety disorder. And then when I was 15, I started taking this medication that is now not allowed to be prescribed to kids.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I saw an ad on TV and it was like, not safe for children under the age of 18.
So you were taking heavy doses of whatever this drug is.
Yeah,
and
it's actually because I know other people have had this experience. It's called Abilify, and it works for adults.
Okay.
But I was really young, and my brain is not matured yet, so it really affected me. And I ended up having, like a suicidal attempt when I was 15 years old. Just because of this medication. Like, I could never imagine I would do that. But because the way this medication made me feel, I felt just in doing that action. And it's what landed me in the hospital where I met this person.
Oh, wow. That's the
who
connection?
Inspired, my entire musical life.
Was this person... One last question about this person. Sorry for being vague, but this is the way this is going to be. Was this person on staff, or was it somebody who was also in the hospital?
Oh, no, it was someone who was also in the hospital. Like, they were, like, around, we're 2 years apart.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and it was just a crazy, really, like, looking back now, it's like, I can't believe this happened. Mm-hmm. What happened. Essentially, like, I fell in love in a mental hospital when I was 15 years old. And,
is that a song yet?
That's the whole album, really. It really is.
Take your trials and tribulations. You can make something out of it. So you grew up in Chicago?
No, I was born in Chicago.
Okay.
And I actually haven't been back to Chicago since.
Wait, so you're just born there, like they were passing through, or it was just, was that where your parents lived at the time?
They lived there at the time. And then they were going to stay in Chicago, but my dad went to Wharton for grad school. He got into Wharton. So he moved to Philadelphia, and then we moved out to the suburbs when he got a job.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and so I grew up in Lansdale, actually, if you know where that is.
I do.
Yeah.
We go there every now and again. We pass through Lansdale. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You describe yourself as a Japanese-American multi-instrumentalist and songwriter from Philadelphia, PA. Sorry, this is from the website. Her solo project consists of looping guitar, intricate vocals, and tap dancing as percussion. You had that on the album as well, the tap? Not
on the album.
Okay.
So on the album, it's the music that I made with the band, which
is the first album, We the People? Or?
So this is the album To Me Monk is with the Fifth Element,
right,
which is the band that I'm currently playing with and will probably be playing with for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
We the People was kind of like the backing band for the first songs that I wrote from the inspiration of this music in my life. And essentially what I as a musician wanted to do was, before I wrote like all these, love songs about the truth of like what I was experiencing, I really wanted to write about what I was seeing outside of the world. So The Common Calamity, which is the first album I released in 2016, is entirely about like putting yourself in other people's shoes and the experiences I've had with people who were less fortunate in life. And all the songs are really personal experiences that I've had with people who just like did not have it good. And it was my experience of what I tried to like see. It was like how I tried to see their experience, essentially, and then wrote songs from their perspective.
And these songs and people you met were in that 3-year time frame from 15 to 18, when you became financially independent from your solo at that point. Where were you living? You were living in Lansdale at that point still?
I was, yeah.
At 15? And you met people throughout those next 3 years, which formed the creation of The Common Calamity.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Where did you meet these people? Just in life, in passing?
So it was really in passing. When I was 15, I moved out. And the first group of people who I became friends with were all musicians in bands. And so we would play together, and it inspired me to write parts for the album. And then after I was in a relationship with one of them, and after we parted, I moved to West Philly. And that was West Philly. That was the first place in Philadelphia that I lived in. And within 2 months, I met all of the musicians that played on the first album, on The Common Calamity. It was such a spiritual experience for me being in West Philly, constantly meeting artists everywhere you go.
That's where everyone lives.
It really is. Yeah, West is the best.
Yeah, and there's definitely a little bit of a scene over there with like if we're talking about Philadelphia, like basement scenes and different venues. And you just like the World Cafe Lives of West Philly.
And West Philly, the biggest part for me was the house shows, the DIY house shows, the basement shows, the living room shows.
And you play a ton of those.
I did. That's how I like really got my kick off of the ground, because I was really just a acoustic singer songwriter, and I did go to a lot of open mics when I was really young, like 15 through like 18.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's really how I worked up the confidence to even like play with people.
That's amazing.
I'm self-taught, and I didn't really get to learn everything the way I wanted to. So I learned from YouTube, and that's how I learned how to play music. And so I was always really nervous, to jam and stuff, because I didn't know, how to jam. And still, struggle, if I'm not singing, trying to play an instrument and jamming is hard for me.
Well, you were never put in an environment for that to thrive or happen. In a teaching environment, you have to play with students, recitals sometimes.
Right.
But, you definitely learned off of the
YouTube.
internet.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, all music teachers fear. Because if you wanted to work hard enough, you could learn music just off of YouTube.
Right.
If you worked hard enough,
right.
And teachers would be out of a job. But
I know.
it's good to have somebody to have focus on you in person.
Definitely. To work out technicality kind of things, because there are some things that I was kind of playing the guitar wrong and stuff, but no one told me until I was around a group of musicians who were your amp is like this and your guitar is like this. They wanted to help me,
Right, but that's the difference, though, is that it's considered wrong by the people who have learned from the standard, I guess we'll call it,
yeah,
or the general knowledge. But then there are the people that learn on their own and they create a whole different style. I'm not saying you are this person, but Hendrix learned the guitar upside down. Right. So it's not necessarily wrong. It could be wrong and bad for your hands, but there are many ways to play the instrument.
Right.
And which is beneficial because it helped define your style through necessity.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And for me, I didn't have any sense of how I should write songs or anything. I really just streamlined, songs would just come to me. I would really feel it. I believe heavily in God. And I would just realize all of these thoughts were going through my mind, and I'm I gotta write this down. And I would just pick up a guitar and it just came out. It really just came out. It's so weird to think how did I even create this music, looking back on it now at the age that I was when I listened to my first album. It really just came out. It was streamlined consciousness, just what I felt, I played, and I was just praying to God that it was the right thing.
Were you ever nervous about how honest it was? This is the common calamity we're talking about.
Yeah. Not really, because I felt this was something that I had to share, and so I felt confidence in it. I really felt called to do this first. That was my first. This is how I see the world because of the people I've met, kind of a thing. And what I wanted the goal of the common calamity to be was for people to listen to it and understand wow, this is intense, and for a lot of people, they don't get to experience those kinds of emotions. So putting yourself in shoes like that can be really, humbling in a way. And so I wasn't really nervous, because I thought, if anything, it would help people. And that was my goal. And also my goal was with that album to help people go to sleep. Insomniacs.
Really?
Yeah, I would really consciously think about that when I would write these songs. And I had people who, it's so crazy, who I met through open mics, and this one lady said her 4-year-old daughter has trouble going to sleep, and she plays my album throughout, and she falls asleep immediately, and now she's I want to listen to that song, and she plays it. And that, it's things like that that really keep me going, because being a musician is hard. It's not something that I really ever thought I was going to be. And there are so many things that go along with it that I never imagined.
Are we talking about we'll call it ego, or?
Yeah, definitely ego.
Okay.
Because I I tried to focus a lot on myself when I was younger to like really love myself. But when you get this kind of positive attention from people, it definitely feeds into, yourself.
And you try to keep yourself grounded.
Yeah, it's exactly like I try my very best. But sometimes it can get hard because I'm constantly playing shows. And so it's like I'm promoting myself and my brand in a way, which is not really genuine. And that's tough for me. I battle with that sometimes.
I do too. It's you want people to see what you've been working on, but when you promote your stuff, it feels kind of narcissistic.
Yeah,
and
it does.
You just become like, I'm another one,
Exactly. And there's so many. And, I know that they're like all important. All the messages like that we create are so important.
But you're very positive with your outreach, or we'll call it your social media presence for now, because it's just easier to pigeonhole. So on your social medias, and when you put articles out or videos, you're very positive. You are probably one of the most positive people I've met in the scene, because I know me, I'm a cynic.
Yeah.
And Mark Brown can attest to this.
True.
But you're very positive, and I think when you radiate that kind of emotion, people can really sense it. Doesn't feel fake. And I find, and like you said to me before we started the podcast, is that people do respond when they feel like it's real. It affects them. It truly does.
Yeah.
You brighten up people's day just by maybe a quick video of a cover, which you've done a few covers on Facebook and YouTube, right?
Yeah, I that's how I really started sharing, was by doing covers on Instagram and YouTube. YouTube is where I first started. I was pretty young too. I was 15. And if you look back, it was funny. My friend Mariah, who's also in the band.
Del Rio, eh?
Yeah, Mariah Del Rio, who I sing with. I love her. We were looking back at old videos when I was 15, and I was just god awful. And it's just so bad. And it's just really amazing to think by throwing yourself in the scene, you're forced to grow. You're seeing people constantly around you who are so amazing, and it inspires you to work just as hard, because you see how hard they work. They bring multiple suitcases of gear and merch and everything, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the thing. They're doing the thing. And when I saw that, I was like, I want to do the thing. How can I do the thing?
And I feel like you're so positive, and you would ask these people, and they would just genuinely tell you.
Yeah, okay. It's funny, the way I've kind of worked my way around the scene is just being really honest. And because I don't know anything, I really don't. I'm just asking, because I have no idea what's going on. So I'm just asking people along the way, how to do this, what to do here, And it's really what's gotten me where I am now. So I feel really grateful.
That's surprising. I mean, people sometimes, I know some people who will be nameless, but they want to keep their trade secrets.
Right.
It's so great that you met the correct people at the right time, including your bandmates, just to be like, what am I doing? And they'd be like, well, here.
I was just really lucky, and truly I can't say it was me. I really, I thank God every day for the opportunities. He really has led me exactly to where I need to go. The way I met these people, and that's why it's so important to us, and why we're really friends, because we all kind of saw how it formed together, and the community and the culture. And I started throwing these little festivals, and that was really inspirational for a lot of people. And it's just a really beautiful thing. I just got really lucky. I really did. I just met the right friends and people at the right time. And some through the craziest situations, really. I just got lucky. I really did.
Well, here's something I wanted to ask. When you became financially independent, going back in time, you moved out of your parents' place. You still lived in town. What were you doing for work? What was the worst job that you worked in that span? Because I have a couple when I was working that age, and I was just curious.
Yeah. So
what you were doing to live.
Yeah, so I actually had to drop out of high school because I was working 3 jobs.
That'll do it.
Yeah. I was working at Wendy's. So this is I worked at Starbucks in the morning.
Okay.
I opened at Starbucks, and then I would go right up the street in Lansdale. There's like 309. So I worked at the drive-in Starbucks in 309, and then I'd walk up the street, and then I'd open for lunch at the Macaroni Grill. And then I would work a double at the Macaroni Grill, or before that, before I got the job at Macaroni Grill, there's a Wendy's right next to the Macaroni Grill, which was like my first So I was just working all food. Like my first job was Dairy Queen, and then it was Sbarro. They were both in the Montgomeryville Mall. And then Wendy's, and then Starbucks. It was like all in this
You
circle.
just hopped around this little circle, this little mall of like food and bev.
It was like, because they wouldn't give me enough hours that I needed to pay for my living expenses, which was intense. And it's why I had to drop out. I just like wasn't cutting it. And luckily I had like a partner at the time, so it wasn't as severe as it could have been. But yeah, it was tough. Like I was working like 70 hours a week. It was absolutely
Oh my God.
ridiculous. And the only reason I remember 70 is because I wrote a poem. It's like working 70 hours a week, struggling to stay alive. Like,
Oh my
so
God.
silly.
Sounded like a rap there.
I
for a
know,
second.
right? Like so silly at the time. It was really when I was like, I'm never going to do this again, because I was forced to do it in order to survive. And I was like, what can I do to make sure that I don't do this for the rest of my life? Because I dropped out of high school. I don't have the kind of connections that like a lot of my friends in the community had with their parents and getting jobs and stuff. I don't have that. So like, what can I do? And I realized when I was coming to the city on the weekends, there are people busking and making money. So I was like, oh my God, I could just busk and make money because I could play, music. And so I started in Lansdale, actually. There's a tattoo shop called Red Lotus right on Main Street.
Right.
And the owner, Rob, would let me come for First Fridays and play outside. Aww. So that was like my first real experience with like making money as a musician. And it was like...
Was it decent? Was it like I don't know, maybe $100 first Friday?
It was like, yeah, it was like $100, yeah. Like, and like $1, $5. It was crazy.
It added up.
Yeah, it did. And when I realized like this is something I can do, like people will pay me just for playing. And it was like, for me, like I'm just like practicing with, outside.
Like, you're doing mostly covers at this point?
All covers.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
So my first covers that I started to do, because I wasn't a musician and I didn't have musician parents, all the music that I knew really came from like
Nickelback.
Pop, not Nickelback, not that. But it was like, Taylor Swift, Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, like that was all my first like, pop. And then I would like turn it onto guitar and make like an acoustic cover. Like Fun, that band was like some
yeah.
Stay up. Like just pop covers that I would see on YouTube. I was like, I could learn that. And then that's why I think so many people enjoyed it, because they were walking by and they're like, I know this song. And then they're like, oh,
You were giving people joy at the time.
Yeah,
and that gave you joy.
It was really beautiful, that transaction.
In terms of pop music, did you learn the pop covers as a necessity, or did you actually enjoy the genre?
That was all the music I knew.
Okay.
Honestly.
So whatever was on the radio or whatever was playing in the car as your bus when you were going.
That was all I knew.
Okay.
And then the first like real band I was introduced to is when I met this person. I really started listening to Blink-182.
Yeah.
And I love everything that came from that. Like it was like the first like, oh my God, like I'm a human being and I feel this way.
Nice.
Kind of music.
What album did you listen to the most?
Their self-titled Blink-182.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Such a good one.
Putting that on the list.
Yes, amazing. They really inspired me to like write what I was feeling. And so that was like the first like real big band. And then from there came like, Death Cab. I started learning like Death Cab songs, Modest Mouse, learned like Ocean Breeze, Salty. And there were songs that I wanted to learn that I knew people already like emotionally connected with. Like almost all the covers I play like talk about, like most songs, but like life experience. Like I really like the ones that focus on like kind of like God and angelic kind of like things. And then like the Talking Heads and
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, just like that really spiritual, beautiful, everyone can connect to and relate with kind of stuff.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so at that point, you were learning these covers, playing outside First Fridays for this tattoo shop.
Mm-hmm.
When did you move to Philly?
When I was...
How old were you? 18?
18.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was the same year you were waitressing, making enough money, and then you made the first album, Common Calamity.
Yeah, so I saved up a bunch of money. After I worked at the Macaroni Grill, essentially my boss was like my best friend, and they like taught me how to serve and such before I was 18 because like, I needed the money, and they're like, as soon as you turn 18, like you could do the thing. And so I went to PJ Willehan's, if you know where that is, in Bluebell.
I don't know the one in Bluebell, but I know PJ Willehan's for
Yeah,
sure.
and I made the most money I've ever made.
Oh, wow. Like,
crazy.
can we get are we allowed to have a ballpark?
Anywhere from 200 to 400 a night.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was.
Were you
nuts.
Were you this positive back then?
Yeah, it's something that like if you met my mother, you would understand.
Okay.
She's just like always smiling, like always,
Well, that's amazing that you did it all on your own from 15 all the way to 18. Then you put the record out, and then on top of that, you joined. Well, actually, let me ask: is this when you joined the youth programs in Philly? Like, started teaching kids?
Yeah, it was right around that time. After living in West Philly, let me think. I moved to Ardmore.
Yeah.
Because my mom lived out in Ardmore. We lost our house in Lansdale or North Wales area.
Okay.
And
Fire or?
It was like through the housing crisis.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And that market housing crash, crazy thing.
Yeah, that's the 2008 crash. Wait,
2008, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because the Big Short movie's all about it.
Yes, exactly.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was crazy. It affected a lot of people, and
did.
it was crazy.
So your mom moved to Ardmore.
Mm-hmm. And then my dad actually moved to Austin, Texas, because he essentially like with the housing crash and like he was laid off from his job. He decided he didn't want to work a 9-to-5 anymore. Like he did the business thing, like got an MBA and everything. And he's just like, it's not what I wanted, my life to represent. And so he is very big in the pro-life movement due to experiences that he's had in his life. Mm-hmm. And so he decided he wanted to work for that every day. He wanted to work for God.
So he had a calling to do this and move. Yeah. That's really cool.
It's beautiful. And the work it's called Heroic Media. Mm-hmm. The work that they've done is just so amazing. It's not like they're fighting, people who are like pro-choice at all. Like, it's okay. But for the people who do not want that and want support, that's what Heroic Media is for. It's essentially like connecting women to women health resource centers to where they can actually get the support and care and financial needs to have a child. And when they have the child, they write letters to this organization just thanking them. It's the most beautiful thing. It's really, really special. And I'm really proud of him.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. When back to the schools and teaching kids how to
yes.
all about music, you have this quote which I wanted to read, and I wanted to get deeper into it. You have this quote. It's there's nothing like being able to pour the knowledge of music into the minds of ever-growing and wondrous children, all while being an example of love and respect you want them to show others down the line. Yeah. That's like a lot in that little quote. So dive deeper into that. Like why did you want to teach kids about music? Was it something that you wish you had when you were younger?
Yeah. So So when I worked in Ardmore, I started working at this place called Music Training Center, and they had babies and parents classes. So people would play guitar and sing to babies and their parents. It was really amazing. It was like how parents connect with their kids and like getting them with rhythm and like accustomed to music. And when I was like playing these songs and doing the thing, it was fun and wonderful. But I was thinking I could provide the same music and knowledge to the kids in the city who don't have music programs. Like in preschool, growing up in the suburbs, like I had music, kindergarten, I had all these amazing music programs that I didn't know until I moved to the city is like not the same in Philadelphia.
Right.
I mean, it's horrible. It's a problem. It's a serious problem. And so what I thought, because like I don't have a college education, I, have a GED. I did get my GED.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I got it right after I dropped out, so I wouldn't forget to do it.
Wait, it was so you wouldn't forget it. It was so, it's not like, oh, I should probably get this. Like, I need to do this now and get just for later.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I had I knew that, like I said, like I was working in the restaurants and stuff, and I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. It was so tiring. And so I was like, I have to get
70 hours a
this
week?
done. It was like 60 to 70.
That's
It was
disgusting.
disgusting. It was gross. And I was... It was bad
Make
because
me vomit.
Yeah, right. Because it kind of stunted my growth as a musician. Definitely at that age is like when I really thrived. Like my voice was best when I was like around 17.
Did you blow it out or?
No, but just so much like stressors in my life kind of like really caused me to like neglect how to like sing correctly. It sounds crazy, but I just really got like nervous all the time. And it might be because I was like playing for larger audiences, but my voice changed definitely.
Okay. It wasn't, you don't think it was age, because you're only 21.
Yeah, or 22.
Right? 22, excuse
No.
me. So you don't think it's age, it's more stress that was affecting your
It's
voice?
definitely stress related. I think now as an adult, I've had, as most adults, like the most stress that I've ever had in my life.
Oh, forget the 70 hours of work. Now it's worse.
Because now it's real, you can't mess it up now.
I don't know, at 16 and you're paying for your living, that's pretty much as real as it gets, ladies and gents. Here, let's talk about this. The Fifth Element.
Yes.
The guys that you met within the 2-month span. Here, I'm going to list them off, and then I want to ask a question about them. On bass is Mark Nessman, and keys is Logan Roth. On drums is Drew, I hope I say his last name right, Garris? Garace. Oh, okay.
We all had to work on that for a while.
Garace.
Garace.
Sorry, Drew. On pedal steel and lead guitar is Knuckles. On backing vocals is Mariah Del Rio. Is the band pretty much the same, or is there some first string, second string policy when you do like shows?
It's pretty much the same. Because we all have our own solo projects, literally all of us. It's common to where we can't all play a show. Especially, I've been playing the most I've ever played. My philosophy is never say no unless I'm busy to any show offer.
That's a way to do it.
Yeah, because it's brought, like, even the smaller shows that you maybe would be like, is this worth it? Have brought connections in my life that, like, have gotten me jobs and teaching opportunities, like, amazing connections. So I always pride myself in, like, never saying no unless I literally just can't do it.
Yeah, we played this show at, shout out to Russ at Dawson Street Pub, and we played down there. I think this was in November of it would have been 2017. And there were a few people there. We brought a few people, and we were playing. We were having a good time, and there was somebody sitting at the bar that Russ called over and asked to sing with us. Mm-hmm. And we were like, oh, great. Somebody that's drinking is going to sing a song with us. Great. Thanks, Russ. Turns out we do Come Together by the Beatles with this guy. He's really good. Mm-hmm. And we don't know who it is. And turns out it's Dan Reed from WXPN who works at WXPN. And after that, just from that one show, we got Free at Noon.
That's
the big show. And then it just kind of rolled this whole year. Like, our year started with Free at Noon, and then we played 90-some shows. We played, like, I think 7 festivals, Mark? Seven festivals, and it all started with just that Dawson Street Pub and Dan Reed being there singing Come Together.
Yeah, Dawson Street is unbelievable.
Oh, it's great, and it's always like a good listening room, like good people. But back to what you were saying, so you took most opportunities, even if the band wasn't available, you play it solo.
Yeah.
As long as you were playing to people and making a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I would do solo, I would either do just a loop guitar set or the tap set where I make the percussion, I loop it, and then play guitar over that. So I would be doing that for my solo sets. And then sometimes it would just be a 3-piece, and my boyfriend would play djembe, and Mark would play like upright bass, and I would play acoustic. So we would do like a 3-piece acoustic kind of thing.
And I've seen you guys do that before.
Yeah.
When I played with Emily Drinker at that mansion.
Yeah.
party.
Oh, yeah. That was so much fun. Yeah.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
Your boyfriend's great, but I really like your bass player, Mark.
Mark's amazing.
He was solid, and all of a sudden he busted out Donnelly, and I started giggling, and I was like, "That's funny."
He's amazing.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mark
Nessner.
But so you released, you did release it, the album.
I did.
Monk. But the thing that helped Tuma Monk is this Kickstarter you guys did. You raised $10,000 for this album.
I will be honest.
Hold on, before you give me the quick footnote. 10,000.
Yeah. Insane, dude.
Now give me the footnote.
Half of it came from me, to be
Okay.
honest. You know, you have to put in as much of your dreams from your own side as people are willing to give you.
Well, thank you for being honest. Like, that's not something that people would usually share. So good for you, man.
Yeah,
that's
of course.
awesome.
Because that's just the truth of it, you know. And I knew it was a big goal.
Yeah.
But I knew what I had, and I kind of guesstimated what people would be willing to offer for the support that I was getting at the time. And I thought, yeah, I could totally do this.
That's amazing. And then so this Kickstarter covers the recording of the album and paying your musicians, I'm guessing. I don't need to know. But you're also doing something with our friend and yours, Skylar Jenkins.
Skylar, yeah.
You guys are doing a video album? Tell me more about that, because I wasn't sure what it is.
So it's a visual album.
Okay.
Have you ever seen like Beyonce's Lemonade or like?
Yeah, she does a video per song.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
kind of like the idea?
So it's essentially like a short film, to where there's a music video for each song. And the way that I was really inspired by the way she did it. In between each song, there's like an interlude that kind of like explains the story of the album. Because when you listen to the music, you listen to the lyrics, and it explains a story, but with an album, there's always like, you know,
There's got to be a common thread.
a conceptual thread. And the interlude poems, I thought was just such an amazing, like, because I really started out with poetry even before music. That was like how I would write, is just writing poetry. And so I thought it was so cool to put the poems in between the songs that kind of like inspired the songs in a way. And so what we did is, essentially, we're like 3/4 of the way done. We have a couple more scenes that we have to do, but we're almost done, which is so exciting. It's been such an experience doing this with him.
Yeah, you guys have gotten hurt.
We've gotten hurt. I've gotten sand in my ear that I've been picking out for 4 months. You'll see why.
And Skylar got pretty messed up from that fall following you.
He fell on his skateboard while he was following me on my bike, and like.
Was it a hill?
It was. So have you gone to Wissahickon Park at all? Mm-mm. So in Wissahickon, there's this really cool like winding trail that goes along the little creek there, and
Did you say crick?
I'm sorry.
Oh my God, no! I like hearing people's dialect. No, it's okay.
I was gonna say creek, and then I just slipped.
You ever go down to the creek? Skylar and you are making this video series. Are you gonna release it once a month? Or are you gonna do it in stages, or are you gonna release it all at once?
Yeah. So essentially, once it's complete and it's compiled and done, we want to submit it to film festivals, because it's
like a documentary, or
it's kind of like a music film combo kind of thing.
Okay.
We're still researching, the ins and outs of but there are definitely, festivals that do this specifically, like with music. And so we want to release that. And with the rules of that, you can't really release the whole thing online or anywhere for a year. Like, it has to be, put through this thing. So what we're doing is we're taking 3 to 4 videos and creating individuals, like single music videos out of them.
Kind of like what Kanye did with the what's the album, the Twisted Dark Fantasy.
Yes. In that same way, like he came out with the first ones and then came out with the whole thing. So it's kind of like a sneak peek into it. But also, not a lot of people are gonna watch like the whole thing.
Not
they
at
just
first,
want,
no.
the little,
Give me bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. So we're gonna release the bite-sized pieces of all the most popular songs, and then a year from now, essentially release.
That's amazing.
The visual album.
You also went on his project, The Great Escape.
Oh my God! So,
the Escape Artist series. The Great Escape is Six Flags. The Escape Artist series. You went with John Gilbride, Brendan Johnson of Stella Ruse, and Pete Hill. Yeah. Who I just learned about. Pete. He's great.
Amazing.
We had John on the podcast.
The first one,
a couple weeks ago. He's a part of the first one.
Yeah.
What's it like collaborating with those guys? I know you guys did one of yours. I think, which song did you do? live on video?
Horizon.
And
we did a couple actually, and I
Okay.
did Fraternal as well, and both on Timimunk, and it was like the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. Really, like Skylar got this RV, and it's amazing. And he was like, yeah, I just want to like, travel with artists and musicians. And he's such a kind-hearted human. He just really wanted to do this for the experience, for us to be able to write music. Like just
That's very kind of him.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. And he drove the entire time. Like he's
No.
so... I know.
I thought that was a joke. I thought they just kept catching him on film while he was driving. I was like, you just want to look like you're doing something.
No, he did the whole shebang. Like, it was amazing too. Like, it was so communal. Like, we would cook food at night in, the RV and out like by the fire, and essentially like it was just like a group of people who like we all knew each other, but none of us were like friends, And in this trip, like we all became great friends because we realized how similar to each other we were. And I don't think any of us really got too much writing in because we were having so much fun in the experience of what we were doing. And we went down to Asheville, North Carolina. And along the way, we would stop at like national parks and just like chill and hang out and record these videos. And what we did when we would record the videos is, we had 10 minutes to learn each one of our songs, and then Skylar would record it, And so for a lot of us, like, this is the first time, like, hearing these songs. And so we're just, like, trying to remember. And you watch the videos, and you can kind of tell, but it's pretty impressive. Like, for 10 minutes per song that we all learned what we did. It was really cool. And, the backdrops, just, like, beautiful
Stunning.
landscapes of nature that we were lucky enough to capture. Then we made our way down to Asheville, North Carolina. And one of our friends from Mo Lauda, and one of Skylar's friends from Mo Lauda and the Humble, told him about this guy, Ethan Pierce, who's down in Asheville. And he's a local musician around there. So he connected us. And when we went down there, we met up with Ethan. And it was the coolest thing. Like he showed us like all throughout Asheville. And then he's like, oh, my friend is hosting like a songwriter circle tonight. And so we go to the songwriter circle. It's in this beautiful, like, classic, like, Asheville, like, house. It's like this kind of like southern open vibe to it. And even though they're like not down south, it's got that like vibe, that like,
It's got that
really,
thing like the homey southern something or other.
yeah, it's
right?
like in the mountains, like that, like, yeah, it's, oh my God, have you been there? I've never been there before this.
Not Asheville, no. We toured down south, like Virginia, and we played Winston-Salem and Georgia, but we've never gone to Athens.
The community there is amazing.
That's Athens.
Athens.
Asheville. Begins with an A. It was close.
Oh yeah, very close. It was so amazing. And so we went to the songwriter circle, and there's like maybe like 13 of us in a circle, and we all play guitar and we all sing. So we're all like going through, and we did 3 whole rounds. We were there all night long, and just like tears were shed, like hearts were open. It was just the most real experience.
Yeah, John told me a funny story that he and Brendan Johnson took something that made it a little more outlandish for that evening. I don't know if they told you about that.
Are you serious? I was left out of this?
Go talk to them about
Are
it.
you serious? You've got to be kidding me.
Okay, so that sounds amazing. And then you recently came back. You guys are starting to release the videos for that series. And it's awesome. You go check it out on YouTube. Check out the Escape Artists. You also run a monthly music festival.
Yeah.
You are just so busy. Like this past month, you have so much going on. So, okay, tell me why you do this monthly music festival.
Yes. Okay, so why
At the,
I do it.
Wait, hold on. So it's at the Secret Garden on Green,
We've
right?
had so many. So it started there. I used to live on 11th and Green in like the Eraser Hood,
Nice.
right where like Philomoka is. And we had this amazing backyard. It was like a secret garden, literally. You wouldn't think it was back there because, buildings, like houses were surrounding it. And we just thought like we should totally have like little parties here. And I was like, how about we just do like a music festival? Like I kept meeting all of these, actually through the West Philly house shows and basement shows, all of these amazing artists. And I thought like, how cool would it be to utilize this space to bring these people here? I have like a good amount of like friends that I've just met through different jobs and experiences in life that like are interested in the scene, but like never really get to experience it because they're not in it. So they don't know like where to go or what to do. And so it was kind of like a safe haven for these people to come and experience amazing local music. And all of these people would like become fans and like continue to go to these bands' shows. And so when I realized like that I had the power to facilitate that, I thought I got to do this, you know, for the bands. And I also, you know, met a lot of people through doing it too, which is really cool, you know, as a musician to meet people who also come out to my shows. Like, because I didn't want it to be about me and my band. I didn't want that vibe. So I only played 2 of them in the past 2 years.
So it's been 2 years you're running this.
Almost,
since you ran
yeah.
This. So you're hosting most of the time.
So I host it every time.
MC it.
I MC it. I do the sound. Sometimes I also run the door.
a woman with many hats, you could say.
Oh my gosh,
that's
it's great.
Okay, so you do these shows. You meet tons of people. I'm assuming you're charged at the door.
Yeah. So
okay.
I always charge $10, and the cool thing about it is like I have been blessed with opportunities since I've gotten older. Like good paying jobs now, you know, with teaching. Like enough, you know,
yeah,
where I can like pay for food and drink and offer it to people and, you know, have a space where everyone pays the money, could be split between the artists, and like I'd still be okay. Like I didn't have to take a cut. So that was like what I pride myself on. Like all the artists would make all the money that we made at the door split between musician, which was like a really big deal because, you know, each artist had, you know, its own set, but I'm sure you've experienced this. When a solo artist makes as much as an 8-piece band, it can get tough, you know? So what we did is divide by musician, and like everyone really liked that because it was fair.
Oh, that's really cool.
Every single musician has to put a lot into it, you know?
Everyone's playing their set time, rehearsals.
Exactly. So that's how we divvied up the money. And when people started realizing like, oh, I can make money from this thing and like grow fans, they wanted to play. And so I got like pretty, you know, big like local acts to play, and that was really fun.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I know that you've had some of your members play your festivals, like Trap Rabbit.
Yeah,
I'm assuming everybody else's groups.
Yeah, the whole Kirby and the Vibe Tribe, the Dawn Drapes.
You had
Ellen Siberian Tiger.
Oh, she's great.
Mother Moses, who
don't know who that
sings
is.
with her. Oh my God, he's amazing. They're really close. They're like in the West Philly scene. He's so amazing. I love his songs. He's definitely like one of the most underrated artists of Philadelphia. Like I talk about him all the time. People are like, I don't know who this is. I'm like, dude, you gotta listen to the songs. They're so good. But who else have we had? Abby Reimold. She's amazing. If you know, have you heard of her?
I don't.
She's so good. Oh, she mainly plays solo. I think she does like a loop set. Such beautiful soul and like spirit when she sings. She's really amazing. And then who else have we had? Josh Miller.
I love Josh Miller. We talked about him with Gilbride. We talked about Josh Miller. He's fantastic.
So great. We've had a bunch. It's been amazing. Miss Cantaloupe, if you know of them, and
I don't. You're naming all these Philly artists that I'm gonna have to tag on the Spotify playlist.
Yes.
You, in your song "Speak Your Truth," which is on the To Me Monk album. I want to give a shout out to your drummer Drew, because I love the drum groove. Yeah, the mallets, and I'm guessing he either taped up his drums or he really got
he edited the drums actually, because like that was one of the songs he was like, I really want this to sound the way.
Well, he did it. I truly enjoy from drummer to drummer. I like the groove a lot.
Yeah.
There's not much else like it on the record.
Yeah.
What is the inspiration for that particular song? If we did like a dive, like what is that song about?
Yeah. So real quick, like a side note as to what Speak Your Truth came from. So Mariah, one of my best friends, is from Utah, Salt Lake City, and she had me come to Utah with her to like visit and hang out. And I met her friend Sarah, who's an amazing dance instructor over there. And she has 4 kids, amazing. We went over to her house, and one of her kids had this drawing that she was like giving me, and so I held on to it, and Sarah had something written on the board. It said "Speak Your Truth," and so at the bottom I wrote "Speak Your Truth" because I thought that was so cool. I never heard that before. And so I went back home, and I have like a couple little what are those not styrofoam, like those wooden boards.
Like the Post-its. You can post like a little note to yourself later.
Yeah, it's like one of those boards that you push pin things into. And I put it on there. And then I was playing this riff. I was like, oh my God, this sounds so cool.
Then you looked up.
And I looked up and it said, speak your truth. And so I was like, speak your truth. And I have a recording of me.
Of you
like
going
a
like
10-minute recording of me being like, speak your truth. Like, speak your truth. You know?
Spoken word over your loop.
You know, I was like really trying to explain like why I write music and, you know, where it came from. And so all of that, once again, like a streamlined consciousness in a, you know, voice memo recording on an iPhone for 10 minutes just came out. It was just like coming out of my mouth. I was just singing it and thinking of like what I felt, and that song came out. And I did edit some things, you know, out because it was a little personal, a little more personal than, because it's a personal song, but it was pretty personal.
Okay.
Like I felt like maybe this could affect the person that I'm.
You're gonna get a call in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
yeah. You shouldn't have done that.
We have a problem.
Yeah. Right. So, the song is essentially about, you know, when I first met this person, like in the part where it's like I was standing there holding a plastic bag filled with my socks and the clothes that I'd wear for a couple weeks while I tried to find myself inside a white box, which is like the room of just white and no windows that I had to be in. I didn't know what I was doing here because I was like so messed up on pills. I just knew that I had to start to heal because I started harming myself.
Right.
I had like severe issues with chemical burns that I inflicted upon myself at a young age, and it was so sad. And so like I knew that I had to start to heal. I wanted to go home, and that was like speaking about, you know, going back to God. Like I wanted to not live here anymore. I wanted to go home, like back with God. And so the whole song is essentially like, it was no wonder, you know, like it was, I met this person and I essentially like, not only spiritually, but like physically, like growing up as like a half Asian, half American person, like there aren't many people like me. And I had to experience like a lot of cultural push and pull, you know, because I'm two completely different cultures put in a human being. Right.
And like you kind of switch between the two.
Yeah.
In terms of what culture to follow. There's no place for you to kind of go.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the moment I saw this person, I was like, oh my gosh, you look like me. Like you look like me. We have, you know, very similar attributes. And then I started realizing we essentially like wrote each other letters. In the hospital, and boys and girls weren't allowed to talk, so we would like pass these notes, like, aww. And I like started learning like this person is like the kindest person I've ever known, and the kind of like kindness that I want to learn how to give to people, because I was so mentally messed up that I was like the experience I was having deep inside I was projecting onto other people, and it was really dark, and I like was addicted to drugs and alcohol and at a young age, you know, not good. But like this person, from the moment I met them, like writing these letters, coming out of the hospital, the experience that we had, like seeing each other, meeting after that, like changed my life. It was the first time I felt alive ever. Like I met someone who was like me and loved the world and loved nature and loved people and wanted to say hello to every person who walked by and wanted to share just love, you know? And it was the first person really, unfortunately, that I met. You know, I was 15, the first person I met who showed unconditional love to the world. Mm-hmm. And it inspired me to be a musician, because I was like, I have to share like this, like so many emotions that I started feeling and wanted to transmute into music.
That's beautiful though, and that's what happened with Speak Your Truth.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said, because you definitely learned from the people that you've met how to be very kind, which you are, and you're a beautiful soul, and you're killing it.
Thank you. I really, you know, if you saw the person I was before, and it's you know, it's a lot to give someone that kind of credit, but I really believe like it was a catalyst in my life to completely change the person I am. And like the first time I really like took a glance at God with a serious lens. I feel really grateful because, I was really mentally ill. Like, I don't know without this experience if I would have ever been able to have a real, real consistent job and like real consistent community. And I still struggle with that. As much as online, it may seem that I have this presence where like things are going great, because I'm getting so many shows and because, I'm doing the music thing full time, teaching, it definitely takes away from like the energy I have for personal relationships. And that has definitely been tough for me.
Oh, for sure. You have to divvy up your, we've talked about this on the other 2 podcasts, in fact, as well, which is balancing life and in your work, we'll call it. Mm-hmm. So when I'm not saying that, I wasn't trying to say that you're reflecting that all these great things are happening. They are. Mm-hmm. But it definitely, you and I both feel that when you do that, sometimes it feels fake, disingenuous, and it kind of takes away from your personal relationships in a weird way. Yeah. Yeah.
It definitely does. Yeah. Because, sometimes I'm working so much that I don't have the time to like continue. Like texting is a big thing that I'm like getting used to, that I have to like respond within a day.
Don't tell me you have a flip phone.
I don't. No,
okay, because I was about to be like, you're probably the girl that has like the Nokia flip or something.
I wish I didn't make the mistake of getting a smartphone, because I set a whole new standard for myself because I could do so many things.
Right. It's the computer in your pocket.
It really is.
There's so much to do. Like, I posted a bunch yesterday for my stuff and Hambone Relay stuff, and it becomes like a whole, what's the word I'm looking for? Obsession. You need to make this look good. You need to promote this product. You need to promote this show. You need to.
How long has it been since the last time I posted?
Yeah, am I gonna continue my algorithm status? Right. Like it's too much. And what I was trying to say before was you radiate positivity through these, and I think people respond well to that. And I think you're doing well.
Thank you so much.
You're killing it.
Thank you. I just really want to do the thing as best as I can, because I've had the opportunity to even do it in the first place. I don't want, to only do it for myself. I realized, actually, with this crew I met out in Havertown, shout out to the Cuddies crew. They're literally the greatest human beings I've ever met.
Oh, yeah?
Greatest musicians I've ever met. Nobody, knows
Cuddies?
About them. McGill Cuddies?
Yeah. So, like, Josh, Emily's Josh plays out there a bunch, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Josh plays with that crew.
Yeah.
Have you heard of
Steingard?
Steingard, yes.
I'm so sorry for
Josh
your
Steingard.
last name. Go on, sorry.
Who I actually first met when I was teaching a music training center. He teaches there as well. He teaches drum lessons.
Oh, right on.
So Josh is out there. Have you heard of Hezekiah Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Raph is actually the one who like really got me into the scene there and like gave me opportunities.
Raph also books for Fergie's.
He does, yeah. He does a couple different things. He does 118 North now as well.
118 North?
Or yes,
oh, you said 118, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. I think it's one. It's funny. I guess I always say 118, but I guess it's 118.
Doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Doesn't matter.
Same thing.
But it's very cool. I did see your performance on the Hezekiah Jones open mic. You have a video on your Facebook, I believe, right?
Yeah. And real quick, one more shout out to Chris Grunwald, because I don't know if you know him, the Chris Grunwald and the Slow Response, the Grizz band. They're absolutely amazing. And also, sorry, shout out, because I love these people so much, to Sammy Vile. Vile Bread. Yeah, he's also a part of that community.
Yeah.
There's and Matthew Grosso as well. There's
you're about to list like every Philly band and musician that you can think of. Just be like,
this group has shown me so much community, and I wish I had the time to be out there more, because it's a little, it's a 20-30 minute drive. But every single week they have like Wednesdays and Sundays, these amazing open mic like jams, and they're all friends and musicians who come out every week, and they're such talented players. It's literally like the best music I've heard in the city, out in Havertown. Like, it is so much fun. And it's really like what inspired me. Like, I want a band. Like, I want a full band that I play with all the time. I love playing with people now. Like, now that my project is done, I'm going to work on, we're still going to play as a band, and we're going to work on writing music all together. Because Tu Me Manques was like my solo stuff that the band wrote to. Now we're going to write as a band. But also, I want to really just like be a part of other people's projects. So my friend Tim, I tap dance for in his band. It's like a folk band. I started playing flute, so this year I want to like play flute with people. And I want to be a part of those things, because that's how I realize like the real community is, and like the real, like what I'm looking for now that I am doing the thing is like that community. I want to play and be a part of something more. I like doing my thing, but like I said, it can get egocentric and you can kind of like lose your way, especially I'm doing it independently. Like I've always, never had like a label or anything. So I've always released stuff by myself, like on TuneCore. And so like being a part of a community, like really being a part of it, like them playing all the time, just like coming up with instruments behind you while I'm playing solo. It's so special. And they're a part of like the Folk Fest crew as well, if you know.
And you've been going for a few years, right?
Actually, only 2 years. Last year, I worked for a wind power company called Inspire, and we went there. But then I realized like my whole crew was there, and somehow I got into the campgrounds. I guess I thought like I was supposed to stay there over the weekend because it was kind of far. So when they came around, I was like, wait, am I not like camping? And then when I went, they gave me a wristband. And I guess like I didn't know I wasn't supposed to have it, but I got lucky. So I got to go into the campgrounds, and that really changed my life.
The whole jamming till 4 a.m. thing.
Oh my, it never ends. Like
I
jamming.
did it. I went one time. It was an okay experience because of what my situation was. But I remember I drank most of this Canadian club I had. I, too, had a poor relationship with alcohol. Go figure. But I drank most of it.
As many musicians do.
Yeah. But Lyle Lovett was the headliner. Was amazing. And then I realized one of my favorite drummers was playing drums. I am wasted. I am gone. Lyle Lovett leaves. His big band is there. And I go up to somebody who's on security. And I go, can I talk to the drummer? I just want to talk to the drummer. She's like, this is weird, but okay. Like, thank God. God bless you.
Yeah.
So I run to this guy. I'm like, hey, man, I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan. Thank you so much for playing today. I don't even remember what I said. He's like, oh, thank you. And you know when you run out of things to say to somebody that you admire, like.
And now.
And so the next thing that came out of my mouth that I remember is, what would you tell a musician that's like kind of in your shoes at like 24? He just looks at me like, keep at it. I'm like, thanks. Have a great day. And I walk away. And then I remember I played Cajon till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I don't remember past 2.
Yeah. I had some fun. It's in times like those where I like to dive into the psychedelic world. So
So when I brought up the psychedelics earlier, it's not that you don't. It's just.
I thought they took. I'm sorry. You can say that. I thought they took edibles.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right, cool. The way you said it, I was like, did they trip without telling
I was trying to be cool with the video and the
but
podcast.
It's okay. We could talk about that. Because it's a huge part of, what my music has come from. In terms of like that streamlined consciousness. I have dabbled a lot with,
Fair enough.
experience. But it's, something that you only have to do for a short amount of time to get the insight that you need. And then like you could put it in a box for
Why'd you look right at the camera? Just like, please don't hate me for this.
Me too. But it's something I can't deny. It, changed my life. And I became a more kind-hearted person because I realized we're all the same in those experiences.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Well, here, I'm going to just wrap with this, is that you're killing it.
Thank you.
And you're doing a great job. And I think that this album's only the first step for you in the fifth album.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, now, ladies and gents, we talk about the music news, all things that are current, and we talk about certain things that are happening in the industry. And I got a couple things up here that I will talk to Miss Rachel Andie all about. Did you know that they're creating a movie based on Prince's music? It's not a biopic like Purple Rain. They're making like a Mamma Mia.
That's amazing.
Thing. Well, it's I put it in. It's good, but it's also terrible because like now he's dead. He has no control over any of his stuff, right?
Well, this is the thing. How I see it. in the same way that when popular artists cover songs from like the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, 50s, there are people who will never hear those songs. There are people who will never know Prince. It's true. Because, like, for example, as much as I'm a musician, you know, I only know 2 Prince songs, to be honest with you.
Which ones are those?
Purple Rain. And I don't know the name of the other one.
What's the melody of the second one?
If you sang it for me, I would know it. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, so you know one Prince song?
Yeah, so I know one. You know, and
I'm just the main one.
And you know, that's just because like I'm not a. I always say I'm not a real musician, but I kind of was just like, you know, shoved into the thing. My parents, you know, my mom listened to like Japanese music, and my dad, well, they loved ABBA.
Like J-pop, or are we talking?
No,
like are we
music
talking like
in
old
Japan.
school? I got it.
And it's like hip. It's like.
What would your mom listen to?
She loved ABBA.
Japanese music was
ABBA.
ABBA?
I'm sorry. I thought you meant like
I have so
American.
many questions now.
I wish she had like 2 or 3 artists that she really loved, and I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember.
Well, how about this? How about you text your mom, or if you do talk to your mom, I'll put it onto the Spotify playlist, but we won't mention it here.
Heck yeah.
Okay, so they're making this movie. Universal Pictures has acquired the rights because Prince passed away, so now his estate is pretty much just giving it to everybody. So Prince's songs are on commercials, this, that, the other thing. It looks like, here's what the article says. Insiders stress that the film is not a biopic, but an original story with Prince's classic songs driving the plotline. The Prince estate has been inquiring with studios about such a film, and Universal chairman Donna Langley worked aggressively to acquire the rights. It says it felt that the biopic angle had largely been covered by Prince's Purple Rain, which, have you seen? It's pretty good. It's kind of like a loose interpretation of what his life was. And meetings have begun with potential writers and producers, and execs are hoping the film could be something like Universal's Mamma Mia, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
And a completely original story where Prince's music helps drive that narrative.
Yeah.
And it's great. I guess, you know what, you're right, in the sense of like people need to learn about that music.
Yeah. For example, as I got to be honest, it sucks because the
if
Beatles
we say
are
Mamma
such
Mia
a
one more
huge
time. Oh, okay.
part of my life, but I didn't know any Beatles songs before I watched Across the Universe.
Okay.
That was my introduction to the Beatles, and I was, you know, in the 7th grade. And without Across the Universe, I would have like never known Beatles songs. And then I learned those songs, and I got into the Beatles and learned all their songs.
And then you dived into the catalog.
And now, yeah, I got the whole book and everything, and I play all the
really?
songs
Oh, wait,
through.
you got the big white book with the tab?
Yeah.
My dad has that, and
It's
in the
amazing.
papers like super thin because they had to fit all the songs
Right?
into this thing.
It's amazing. And now they're a huge part of my life, but like I feel ashamed to say that I didn't even know them because my parents never introduced me to them. No musicality in the family, so I kind of had to like find all these things on my own. But without Across the Universe, I would have never had the Beatles. So in that same way, like I know there are kids growing up who have no idea, like me, honestly, like what Prince was about, really.
Do you? I didn't ask you this earlier, but do you have any siblings that play?
No.
You have how many siblings you got?
2. I got an older brother and a younger brother.
What do they do?
My older brother is a personal trainer.
Nice.
Yeah, he's great. He like does fit and health kind of stuff, like all organic. It's really cool. My little brother grew up as a tennis player. He was sponsored by a program that Billie Jean King had called Down the Line.
Okay.
And he was amazing. But he had, an injury, and along the line, it was just a lot. Like, he wanted to go to high school and be a regular kid. So he started going to Lower Merion. And then he decided instead of, like, wanting to coach, he kind of just wanted to, like, live life. So now he's just, like, down in Texas with my dad.
Oh, cool.
And he might go to, like, college down there, so.
Right on, man. That's very
Yeah.
cool. On the next bit of news, are you a Springsteen fan?
Once again, I'm not a real musician, so I can
Okay,
name
hold on.
you.
Oh, we're going to stop this now. I let it go because sometimes we say these things about ourselves, but you play guitar, you sing, and as far as I'm concerned, you tap dance. So you are a musician, you have rhythm, you're a musician. We're going to end that there. Maybe you aren't that technical.
Yeah.
But you can learn that.
I guess, yeah, that's really what it is. It's like when people find out I'm a musician, they talk to me about things happening in music, I'm really not up to par. I want to be like, oh, but I'm always like writing down things and learning. You'll see me like, always when people are talking about things, writing in my notes.
Like a little note to check out later.
Because that's how I know the music that I know. Because that's the only way I could learn it.
Right. Well, you know what you should do? Not to give you advice.
Like, everything.
You should honestly maybe look into like a teacher just to like kick your butt.
See, that's my friend Jimmy Faber. He plays guitar.
I know Jimmy.
Out in, really?
Mark knows Jimmy too.
Yeah, I played in a band with Jimmy for years.
No
actually.
way.
In fact,
That's
side note,
crazy. He's my favorite guitar player.
we'll get back to Jimmy.
He's great.
She played. Mark Singer just opened up a coffee shop.
Yeah,
and
Oakmont Roots.
She played the opening.
Yeah, Mark
that's
is
awesome. Cool.
amazing.
Yeah, you played
so
in
great.
not Steal Your Peach.
I was an Old Soul.
Old Soul.
Oh no
yeah.
way!
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love Mark.
Small World.
Yeah, Small World.
So he opened that with Mark Singer. Opened that with his wife. I'm guessing.
Yeah, with
Okay.
Tamar. It used to be a head shop.
Right on.
Yeah.
That was a Gray Boy or whatever it was called.
What Gray?
Gray Boy, right?
Gray
Or
Boy.
something like that.
Yeah,
That was his.
something
It was
like
his
that.
too.
It was
right? Yeah.
his.
Yeah,
Same
cool.
building.
What? Okay.
But he had a kid, and he was like, "I want to do the family thing, so I'm gonna open a cafe."
We saw him play with one of the Greg Allman's son. Or
Michael,
Dwayne
Michael
yeah.
Allman.
Michael Allman.
That's amazing. Yeah, Mark's great.
All right, so back to Bruce, because this is for me. Bruce Springsteen, it says, is writing new music. He's going to finish up his thing on Broadway. Have you heard about the solo thing he's been doing on Broadway?
No,
For about
that's so
5 or 6
cool.
nights a week, he does a show on Broadway, which is basically his... he put out a book called... I have it at home. I think it's just called Born to Run.
Yeah.
But basically the show talks about his life and he plays some of the hits. Each show is different though because he feels like playing this or that, the other
Right,
thing.
right.
So basically it's like being in a living room with Bruce for
That's so
3
cool.
hours, and he's been doing this like all year.
That's
and now
amazing.
Netflix is putting out a video version of it in a couple weeks.
That's awesome.
Actually, I think it'll be right around the time this podcast drops.
Nice.
But he is probably not going on tour next year.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking the year off, but hopefully be back in 2020. That's for me. Little Bruce. Any Bruce fans?
Yes.
You ever seen? I assume you've seen a Hugh Jackman movies. Are you a Hugh Jackman fan?
Can you name me a Hugh Jackman movie?
Well, he was in Wolverine. He was Wolverine.
Oh, okay. All right. I know who you're talking
He
about.
was the guy that was in The Greatest Showman opposite Zac Efron.
Yes.
And
He's talented.
oh, he's great. He was also
Yeah.
in Les Mis, the
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
the
yeah.
movie version. Out today or the other day, off of AP, Hugh Jackman, the pop star, read his massive world tour. Apparently, here I'll read the article because I don't want to misspeak. Hugh Jackman is set to launch a pop star-like tour next year, but he's done his research. He's been to a Beyonce concert, a Justin Timberlake concert, and a Michael Jackson concert. He said, I've seen some of the greats, and the great performers for me are the ones who can connect with the person in the back and the front, and I'll sometimes sit in the back because I want to know how I'm feeling back here. I want to know the theater, and I want to connect to every single person. So it looks like he's going to be going on tour as a pop act.
So like, with like
It's
backing
like a
tracks,
full
he's gonna
band.
sing
It looks like a full band, dancers. Here, let me look further down the article.
Oh my gosh. I imagine, I mean, like, he's a super creative guy. It's probably going to be really good.
I'm curious as hell.
Yeah. See, like, the Greatest Showman thing was the first one where I was like, wow, like, I'm sorry that I don't know names and faces. Like, it takes a little
it's
bit
okay.
to connect them. But
My girlfriend kicks my butt with that stuff too. Sometimes we play the IMDb game and she
Yeah.
kicks my.
oh my gosh, I don't know anybody. I know, like, the pop,
The main ones, yeah.
yeah.
But it says that
So cool, though.
it starts May 13th in Hamburg, Germany. And then he'll play 2 shows at the O2 Arena in London.
Wow.
Where the Greatest Showman album's done better there and had even more success in America.
Wow.
So it's spent 48 of the 49 weeks in the top 10 in the UK charts. Wow. He also says he's going to perform some original music on the tour, and he recalls working on an album when he was signed to a record label over a decade ago when he starred in Broadway's The Boy from Oz, which he won a Tony
so
in
cool.
in
What?
2004.
That's
How bizarre
amazing.
is that? Well, I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Yeah, multi-talented artist. So cool.
Yeah. Don't you get a little jealous, though? You're like,
No,
not even a little bit?
all,
I
because
definitely do.
I'm going to be honest, like, it's been a lot. And I'm, I'm just getting started. And I'm stressed out.
You're like, you do you. I'm going to hang out and doing what I'm doing.
I want to be really careful because I never, I'm not saying that I am even worthy of it, but I never want to get to a point where I feel like I have to make art only for the people. Like that, it's no longer for me kind of a thing.
It has to be 50-50 or some split.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot to do. And I could, I really want to do it for a long time. But, like, I don't think, after I have kids, it could be something that I can continue to do. Because it's a lifestyle. And family and love is something that I've always dreamed of, like, being a mother. And so, like, I don't get jealous for those kinds of, like, big things. Because I don't have those kinds of, big dreams. I think it would be cool to, like, do it. But I could see it being difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Very hard. And hard on your body and mind and soul and spirit in every way.
You better be balanced if you're doing something like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like you have to make sure. I don't know if I have that kind of self-discipline to care for myself in those situations when like that's a lot. Like you're touring and you have the big band and like you're an actor and everybody knows you and everywhere you go people know who you are and you can't sit down and have a normal dinner. You can't go somewhere without getting a picture taken or like.
Either you thrive on it or you are. I won't say recluse, but you definitely need your space.
Yeah.
And
the fact that paparazzi have to like stalk people in their home, outside.
That's weird.
That's weird, but it's real,
I mean, a lot of us, I think, would probably break like Kanye would.
Yeah,
and just like, get out of my front lawn.
Of course.
I probably would. In that regard, I feel in kinship with him. And when he broke down, I was like, yeah, I would be mad you're on my front lawn too.
Right. Disrespect. Really.
Yeah, just forget about it.
But so yes, in a sense, like that's so cool, but I don't think that I could get there. I don't think I have the responsibility to do that. So I'm not jealous. I'm like that's cool as hell that someone could do that.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's amazing. And the last bit of news is mostly for me and Mark. I don't know if you know this band called Galactic.
No.
They're a great band. They feature the drummer Stanton Moore, one of my favorites. And it was confirmed. Galactic released a statement confirming purchase of Tipitina's, which is one of the main clubs down in New Orleans. Mark, have you ever actually been to Tipitina's?
Yeah, I've actually played there. Actually.
Oh, with the bridge?
The bridge played there, yeah.
How long ago was that? Do you remember?
That was 2012, I think.
Okay.
So,
big room. I've never been there.
It's big. It's like, I think capacity's like, it's under 1,000. It's probably like 600 or something.
Okay. Well, it says here that it's confirmed. It doesn't say any details as to what the split is. They say our goal is to preserve, promote, and protect the future of New Orleans music, culture, and heritage via the Tipitina's venue and brand, says Stanton Moore. Wow. And they got the name from a Professor Longhair tune.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great. That's a great band to check out.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about more tunes to listen to.
Yeah.
Which is what this podcast is for. All right, this next segment I like to call Whip It Out, your phone, that is. We talk about the last 5 things that you listen to on your Spotify, Apple Music, and the last 5 things that you've been checking out, which will tell our audience, and maybe we could share the love of music that we've all been listening to.
Yes.
Here, I'll go first.
Yes.
Just to kind of break this. I've been listening to this song. It's called The Smoothie Song by Nickel Creek because Hambone's getting ready to cover it next year. We have a bunch of new albums and songs and shows we're getting ready to announce. So actually, today, our new live album came out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
I wasn't
awesome.
digging. But it's called Like a Rocket, but louder.
Can I listen to it like now?
Yeah.
I mean, like on my way home.
Right now, just like put it in. Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. It's
Okay.
like 7 tunes. It was recorded live at Front Porch Festival.
Nice.
In Virginia.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say in West Philly, but that's awesome.
Oh no. Whose porch did you do it on? The second thing was an album by Lyle Lovett, who I mentioned earlier. The album's called It's Not Big, It's Large. It's fantastic. I recommend it. The third one is a little cheesy. It's my guilty pleasure. It's my Christmas pleasure. It's a Celine Dion album called These Are Special Times.
Yes.
Hold on, I'm gonna preface it. It was my mom's cleaning. It's my mom's cleaning album. Whenever she would clean the house and she'd have like the cinnamon candle and she's doing her thing, she would have this album on it. Like I felt very nostalgic.
Yes,
It's not the Titanic theme song, dude.
Speaking of which, I just made John Gilbride's Spotify playlist for the first episode, and we talk about it, so I added it onto that Spotify playlist.
Heck yeah.
The fourth thing I got is Mad World by Gary Jules featuring Michael Andrews. I watched Donnie Darko the other day.
Yep, that'll do it.
You seen that film?
Oh my God, yeah. One of my favorites.
Oh, it's so good.
So good. I watched it so many times.
What is the guy's name? It's
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Jake Gyllenhaal, and his sister is in the film too.
Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Maggie Gyllenhaal. This is why we have producer Mark, ladies and gentlemen. And the fifth thing is an artist that I just discovered called William Fitzsimmons. I never heard of him, but he has a Spotify sessions on Spotify that you can check out. Sometimes I say really weird and stupid things, and Mark laughs at me during the podcast. But check him out. He's fantastic. What are your 5?
So right now I'm listening to Little Strike, who's a local artist. Do you
Okay.
know?
I don't.
Oh my God, she's amazing. Tamar. She just came out with an EP called Beyond Things.
Okay.
It's so impressive. It's amazing. Let's see, who else? Phoebe Bridgers.
Okay.
Have you
I know a
heard of her?
little bit of her.
She came out with this album, Stranger in the Alps, I think.
What's her main song? She has like a big hit, and I can't remember what her big song is.
I think not Steamroller. Emotional Motion Sickness.
I have to go.
I
I'll go
forgot.
listen.
I should know the name. I listened to the
Oh,
whole
you know what
album
I'm thinking
through,
of?
so I'm not looking at the name.
I'm thinking of Leon Bridges, not Phoebe Bridges.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Leon
okay.
Bridges is also amazing.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, who's your third?
I wish I could whip out my phone.
You can. Do you have
I?
it?
Yeah.
No, totally. Take it out.
I do.
That's why we call this segment what it is.
Yes.
I didn't realize how dirty it was until my girlfriend called me out, and I was like, it's already in the first 2.
Yeah, right. I got to keep it.
For continuation's sake.
Oh, okay. I really listen to a lot of local artists because
can tell.
Yeah, because I mean it's the greatest thing. You learn amazing songs. You get to go out to $10 shows. And it's just like a great experience. Like all your friends are there.
How many shows do you go to a month locally?
I'm going to be honest. Recently, with working on the album so much and stressing out about that, I haven't had a chance to go out as much as I usually do.
But a normal
usually
time.
like once or twice a week. But before the album, literally like 4 or 5 nights a week.
See, that's amazing because I know for me and Mark, we have a rough time going out so much just because work and things.
And
but like
that's also why, I get up
Yeah.
at like 7:30, 8 a.m. in the morning and teach pre-K music. So, it's hard to be out.
But at the end of the
night.
day, you're like, do I go out and like hang out, or do I just sit here motionless for a little while? That's great. Okay, so what number are we on? For 4? I think we're on, or 5.
2, right? 3. Little Strike,
Okay.
Phoebe Bridgers, Taylor Kelly.
I know Taylor Kelly.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh my
no,
God.
of her.
She's great.
The Phonies used to be her backing band, and now my buddy Robbie Webb is making her new album.
Oh, sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She's a great
She's
singer.
so good. She's got an album, Do You Feel Me? So good. I love it.
I think she also went to where I went to college, was
Really?
University of the Arts.
Oh, nice. Yeah, UArts.
Pretty sure.
Mariah actually went to UArts as well.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
I feel bad. I should have known that.
No, you're fine.
Did anybody else in your band go there?
No, Mark, I think, went to Rowan. Logan went to Princeton.
Right.
Drew went to Temple.
That's not surprising.
Yeah. And who am I missing? Jay. I actually don't know where Jay went. But he went to school for music as well. What was I going to say? What was the next thing? Was it my next artist?
Go for the next artist. I think we're on number 4 because Taylor
Number
Kelly
4?
was 3.
Little Bird.
Who's Little Bird?
They're actually, I should know where they're from, but my friend Kirby actually turned me on to them. They have an album called Familiar. And it's so good. Like they're, the kind of people you listen to and you already think they're famous, and then you're like, oh, they're touring like locally. It's
What
the
music
best.
is it? What kind of music is it?
It's like multi genre. It's hard to. It's like let's see. It's like funky, but like electronic, not, funky.
Funktronica?
Definitely like electric rock. It's got like groovy sways.
Like this?
Yeah, like this, Yeah, they're great. So I've been listening to that.
And what's number 5?
And number 5 is always Sufjan Stevens.
Oh, yeah.
Always. That's my love of my
Mr.
life.
Cat.
I love him so much. I found out recently he's born on my dad's birthday, which is awesome. And so is Mark. Mark Nessman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so cool.
How hilarious is that?
July 1st.
You have a busy day on July 1st. You got to call everybody up. You try to get Cat Stevens there.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. How do you say his first name now?
Sufjan. Yeah.
Moving on to the next segment, we talk about the top 40. We pick either a tune that we like or we talk about how we feel about the top 40. But as we can kind of tell, Rachel likes local artists and local things. Can you talk about your feelings about the top 40?
Yeah. I definitely have an appreciation for pop because it's so catchy and so good. Mm-hmm. But none of these songs that I listen to, like, I really connected with, I guess. You said, like, the top 40 things, so I was looking through all of them. I was like, first off, I don't know any of these songs, so let me listen to some. Mm-hmm. So I listened to, like, Ariana Grande, God is a Woman. I'm like, oh, this is cool,
Well, that's the one that I had listed for my favorite top 40 this week.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Because I love her, honestly.
Yeah,
okay, so she's great. She's got
so
3
great.
top 40 songs, which it doesn't really matter, but she has this tune that, like, it's been stuck in my head, and I'm a huge fan. It's called Into You. If you took the melody line, it's almost like a funk guitar part.
That's
and I've been trying to get bands to cover this song because it's so good.
Yeah.
And just
that is so great.
It's so good. And then, so God is a Woman, the track's great. The production's great.
Yeah, I think out of the ones I listened to, that was my favorite one. I love Ariana Grande. She's so dang talented. And like she's actually talented.
Mm-hmm.
She's a pop artist who can like sing by herself,
As opposed to some others.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. In our opinion.
Yeah.
That was for the audience. That little side glance. By the way, we'll have video of this interview on YouTube if you would like to check that out as well.
Sick.
So back to how we felt about the top 40. So a lot of these tunes that you've looked through, you didn't really connect with as a person or as an artist, or is it kind of both? Or?
As an artist mainly, like as a person, they're so fun. Like I would, they're fun to listen to, but to me, they just all sound the same. Mm-hmm. Like there's nothing, I always know what's coming up next. There's nothing, what I really love about music is surprises. Like I love I don't like, a lot of people don't like math rock, but like the kind of metal, funky, like just
you like to not know what's coming
signatures.
next. You want to like almost feel that sense of
surprise. Really.
Yeah, I guess that's the word. I was trying to think of something else, but there's no other. You just want to be punched in the brain with music,
right? And that's what like. If you ever see me at a live show, people are always like, you're dancing like exactly to the beat and you're giggling when it gets complicated. Like I giggle. Like
you don't know what it is, but you're like, ah.
When it starts, like if they change, like, if they do something funky or like, 6 I'm like, ah, like I like those kinds of things are so great to me. And it's like why I love music so much. So when I listen to pop now, none of that's there for me. So it doesn't like do it for me, or there's not like samples and like weird stuff in the background, so it doesn't do it for me. Like I don't have that emotional connection, but I could see like at a wedding or dance party, like it'd be fun to dance to.
Oh yeah, definitely. For sure. It's like candy and you like the beat. It's cool.
Yeah.
I do find there's a few tunes that I like on there. I'm not a top 40 like. I'm not on all the time. Like, what's everybody listening to? I should listen to what that is, so I can talk about it at the water cooler with my friends and be like, oh my God, Maroon 5, so good. It's terrible, in my opinion. It's okay.
Maroon 5.
Yeah,
I love Maroon 5, but only they're like classics.
See, everyone says that. It's like I love Maroon 5. But Songs About Change is the best album they ever made, and then
it's true. It's so good.
It's the same line. Most musicians say that. I find. All right, the next round here is called the lightning round. I'm going to say something. You have to quickly say what your answer is.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What's the first album you ever owned?
On vinyl?
CD, vinyl. Like you owned, it was yours.
Don't be schooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block.
That's
it
a
was
good one.
on my Walker, my little CD.
A Walkman?
Yeah, Walkman.
My
Walkman.
Walker.
I didn't know I was so young. My Walkman, yes.
Kids are like, what's a Walkman? Kids, that's the thing that you put the CD in. You had to walk around with it. It was like a
That
little
was the
CD
greatest
player,
thing.
and you had to put the CD in it, and then you had to carry it a certain way so it
so it
didn't
doesn't-
skip. Mine was terrible. It ruined all of my CDs. I think my first CD kind of changes depending on how my memory is doing. It was either the Pokemon movie soundtrack,
Yes.
or it was don't laugh, Mark, or that sigh, and then what was the other one? The Jimmy Neutron
Yes.
soundtrack.
That's great. I love the soundtracks.
It's
That
the
sounds
soundtrack.
like-
It's always the soundtrack. It was
That's
brutal.
great.
I was made fun of it. It was terrible. Second one.
Yes.
First show you saw, like first big concert that you saw.
Justin Bieber.
Are you serious? Back what year was this?
I was in middle school.
This would have been right after his big movie or first album, or was it like when he was?
It was like when he became pop. It was
The
at
YouTube
the
stuff.
Jingle Ball. I don't even remember the station anymore. Q102 Jingle
102. Okay.
Ball.
102.9. Is it,
All my middle school friends went, so I was like, I'll go. And we made T-shirts. And
locally, that was 102.1.
I think
I
so.
think so.
102.1. Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3. What was the last show you saw that you weren't a part of?
That I wasn't a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Greeley and the Operators, Trap Rabbit, and Johnny Showcase at Johnny Brenda's.
Yeah, we're playing with him on Sunday.
Who?
Nick.
Nick. Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we're playing first, and he'll be playing second.
Yeah,
at the Armo Music Hall.
I had no idea that. I knew of his name through for bookings, right? But I just never knew that he was in a band. So when I went to go, because I went to support Trap Rabbit, I try and go to every single one of their shows because they're my best friends and they're so amazing. And dance, they make me dance. That's a big thing too. I want to
You want to get down?
get down, diggity dirty, yeah.
Diggity Dirty. That's actually the name of her next record, which is Down Diggity Dirty.
Dancing, down diggity dirty dance.
If you add the dirty dancing,
that's
though, there's
too much.
copyright.
Right,
And,
it's funny. We had issues with The Fifth Element because I didn't want that.
the movie.
Exactly. But
so
I
that's
think,
why it's the
I think
V?
we'll be fine. Yeah, we made it the V, but we changed it back to Fifth because too many people kept saying the V element.
Yeah, that's what Gilby said. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah. So because there's no 5 Roman numeral. I think if people saw the lines on the top and bottom, they'd be like, oh, 5, Fifth. But also, the 5 element, it was a little confusing. So.
Yeah, you have to copy and paste every time you post it about the band. You have to have the fancy V.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 4.
Yes.
Favorite song to play.
Ever or right now?
Right now. It can be either yours, a cover. Doesn't have to. It can be somebody local.
Heart of Gold, Neil Young.
That's a great song. Whole album's great.
Yeah, so good.
Number 5, least favorite song to play. She might not have an answer.
Yeah, I don't really play songs I don't like, but least favorite out of my repertoire.
Or something you're falling out of love with, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, just because I've overdone it, I've done it so much. Florence and the Machine, Dog Days Are Over. Everyone knows that I sing that song, so every time I'm doing the cover gig, they're like, Dog Days Are Over.
And you're
so
like,
I sing
no!
it. Yeah, I sing it at every single one. So that one, yeah.
Okay. I feel the same way about. I used to do Jolene,
Yes.
not by Dolly Parton, by Ray LaMontagne.
Oh, okay. He's amazing.
He's my dude.
So freaking good. That's a new guy I recently learned about. His voice. Oh my gosh. So
It's really good. Number 6, which is going to be hard for you, but we're going to try this.
Yeah.
Favorite local artist that has been unheard of that people should know about.
Mother Moses.
Okay, Mother Moses. Number 7, guilty pleasure artist or album.
Guilty pleasure. I don't know.
We'll come back to it.
Okay.
All right, number 8, worst job you ever had.
Probably Starbucks.
People get pretty rude about their venti mocha loca chota lattes.
It was really the drive-thru. I think it caused me to have some sort of I'm always cold now.
Oh, so
Dude,
the window
they'd
keeps
make me-
opening?
because I was great at drive-thru. I was great at like doing the thing. So they'd always put me on drive-thru, and it was freezing cold.
Oh no!
Just like open and close, and there's like icicles.
And you're
That
thinking
was
about
tough.
life.
I know. I'm like, I
imagine.
can't do this forever. I can't freeze at the drive-thru.
I'm getting cold thinking about it. I'm just crossing my arms.
Yeah, that was tough, and every morning too. It was
Number 9, favorite album of all time.
Helplessness Blues by the Fleet Foxes.
Okay, is that you covered a Fleet Foxes song?
I cover a lot of their songs actually. Helplessness Blues is one that I do with Mariah. We do a really great vocal harmony on that.
Did you make a YouTube video of that one?
I did, yeah, we
Okay.
did. Blue Ridge Mountains, Meadowlark, Tiger Mountain Peasant Song. I am so inspired by Fleet Foxes. My friends actually, have you ever heard of the Soft Spots? Shout out to the Westfall Connection group. They're like a local group from like where I'm from, like Lansdale, North Wales. And they introduced me. They are like very big in music, and they were a huge inspiration for me. Like they were the ones who like introduced me to like vinyl and stuff. It was really cool.
Oh, cool.
And that was like the first album that they played in their house, and I fell in love with it. And we just like all sat on the couch like swinging a bowl. Oh my God, this is amazing.
What she means is they had really hot popcorn, and the smoke was rising off the popcorn
Out of the glass
out of the bowl.
bowl.
So, yeah.
Yes.
All right, number
I should be marking
number 10. Who's your favorite artist of all time right now
right now.
that you have to listen to?
Phoebe Bridgers.
Okay.
Just like, oh my gosh, really connected with me.
By the way, we're gonna have so many people we have to tag in this video, in this this podcast. So like, every Philly artist is gonna be like, "Ooh, thank you." What's your next show that's happening locally or on tour?
Our album release show at Boot and Saddle on
Awesome.
December 28th.
Who else is on it?
Las Palabras, Chris.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and his whole band, so funky, so good. Also, very underrated band for
No, they're
how
excellent.
amazing they are.
And Chris is a great drummer too.
Yeah, he really is. So good.
Chris, I'll wait for my $20 to show up in my house. My address is. And where can people find you?
Yes, RachelAndie.com. Oh, you mean like
No, I mean
online?
like social networks. Yeah.
Social networks, yeah. Rachel Andie Music, RachelAndie.com, YouTube, Rachel Andie Music. Usually just Rachel Andie.
And your
A-N-D-I-E.
Instagram is the same at Rachel Andie Music. Mm-hmm. Make sure to follow her there. She's very positive. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me. This was amazing.
And make sure to check out the album, Tume. Oh my God, Tume. Tume Monk. Go check it out. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Rob. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to Dude. Check this out. Once again, if you want to learn more about Hambone Relay, please go to our website, hambonerelay.com, or go to iTunes to check out our records, or Spotify, which is where these playlists will be located for these episodes. And don't listen to the haters, man. There's plenty of good music out there. You just have to keep looking. See y'all later.